Look, anyone can hire a virtual assistant, but how do you build an overseas team so good they actually grow your net profit? Well, that's exactly what I've done. I have a team all based in the Philippines that runs my e-commerce business, and we do $1 million a year in revenue, but I don't have to micromanage them to get it done. Through sheer repetition over the last 4 years, I've learned how to build a top 1% overseas team for myself and for our clients. Today, we're going to skip through all that trial and error so you can build your overseas team right the first time. So when I first started hiring, I was stuck in the painful cycle. I would make an online jobs or an Upwork post. I would get like hundreds of applicants and not know what to do with them. So I would just skim through a couple of the resumes, basically hire the first person that had decent English. I was like, well, I don't know what other criteria to hire for. And I would train them. I would invest my time into them. And it wouldn't work out. They couldn't catch on to things. I had to keep retraining the same things over and over again, and I would start back from zero. Sure, I would lose a couple $100, but more importantly, I would lose all that time that I just spent investing into this person to try to get them up to speed. And it's because my frame around it was completely wrong. I was hiring people that could never live up to my expectations anyway. So here are the 3 shifts I made to break that cycle. First is around value, because I would hear people talk about the $2 an hour VAs, and so that's what I was looking for. I mean, they're all the same anyway, right? And yes, I was saving some money, but I was paying for it 10 times over in churn, in retraining the same things, and losing my focus, taking my eye off the ball to worry about all these low-level VAs. And once I started looking in like the $5 to $6 an hour range in the Philippines, I was finding people that fit what I was looking for. Now, the second one is more simple. Essentially, I was looking for a virtual assistant when what I really need to be looking for was my right hand, was a true operator. And so the test I started giving myself at the end of the interviews would be, could this person be my CEO one day? Could I see them taking on a leadership role, like a true operations role in the company? And if that's not the case, then I wouldn't want to move forward. I didn't want a bunch of virtual assistants. I wanted like people who could really run the business with me. The third shift I made was focusing on character over skills. I can teach someone how to do the specific things. I can throw them into YouTube University, but I cannot teach them the characters, the attitude, the values. And so I started vetting very hard for people that had the character and values that aligned with mine and with what the business needed. Because in the early days of an entrepreneurial business, the focus can change from week to week. And so I don't want to be like, oh yeah, Sarah can only handle lead generation. You know, she can't be put on this on the marketing side. I wanted someone that could be thrown to, like, here's where you're going, do this. And this week, this is what's important to us. Go for this. Some of these people would have experience, but experience with who? Most of the time, it was someone who did the business entirely differently than I would. I would just spend more time retraining them anyway, and they would have these preconceived notions that they got from their past employer. So it just overall didn't work out. Once I flipped the switch to looking for virtual assistants to like true business partners, true operators, I started finding people that think like I do. Like I wanted to build a team instead of a group of virtual assistants. So once I got those shifts out of the way, I had to now work backwards and figure out how to build the system that is going to filter for that top 1% of character. That's where my 4-level vetting protocol began. What I'm avoiding with this vetting protocol is people that watch the clock, that find ways to fill their time instead of doing the tasks that are going to move the business forward the most. So the 4-level vetting protocol is essentially a funnel to output just that top 1% of candidates. For a job posting, we might get hundreds, maybe in the thousands of applicants. And overall, this funnel has gone through like 30,000 people at this point to make the hires that we've made. So level 1 is the initial application. And so it takes them through a step-by-step flow, ending with 2 30-second video response portions. And the ones that do complete it show that they have that initiative. Level 2 is our mock scenarios. So it's scenarios that they would find themselves in this specific role, basically seeing their problem-solving ability. Level 3 is when we hop on a one-on-one interview for like 20 minutes with me or my team, get to know them a little bit. And then the 4th level is the follow interview. This vetting protocol works because it filters for competency. More importantly, it's self-selective. If you are a lazy applicant, you will fall off at many of the traps along the way. But the ones that actually make it to the end reveal themselves as the A players, as the top 1%. All right, so I've had that final interview. I am like, hell yeah, this person's gonna be a great fit for my team. Have them starting on Monday. My job's done here, right? No, I can't waste all that effort I just put into finding this person and blow it on the onboarding. So for the onboarding, I'm really focused on teaching the context and the decision making, not so much the task. Like, I don't want to just slot them in right here and say, all right, go for it. I want to give them the full picture so that they can excel in the role. It's my way of investing in their future. It's going to set the tone for years to come too. So week 1 is when I focus especially on that context building, not so much focus on the task, but like an overview of the business, how we make money, why we exist, how their role is going to be important to the business, the specific KPIs that are going to be most important to that role. I want to build the pyramid wide here at the base so we can go higher. By the end of week 1, they'll be able to explain to me how their role is going to increase the net profit of the business. Week 2 is where we keep that feedback loop going. I'm learning how to better teach them, how they learn best, and helping them with the things that they're having the most trouble with. I'll also have a team member I have currently hop on and basically be a mentor to them. Throughout this whole onboarding process, I'm not just throwing them off the deep end. I'm gradually ramping up the responsibilities and the workload. Week 3, get more hands off. They're leading the task, they're taking the wheel, and I'm reviewing it. Week 4 is when I'll really know if my investment has paid off. That's when I just keep it to the daily or the weekly reports. Do that 3 times, 4 more times, and you've got yourself a top 1% overseas team, not a group of data entry VAs. Now, one bonus I have for you, it's time to protect that asset you just built through long-term retention, because I almost experienced this firsthand. My longest standing team member, Christelle, has been with me for over 3 years now. In the beginning, she shared with me that she was considering leaving, and come to find out, it's because I wasn't being a good leader. I had to move from a boss or a manager to a coach. It's like Tiger Woods has a coach. Even my A players are gonna need coaches too to be at their best, to be held accountable. I started asking for their input constantly. How would you do things differently if you were me? Where do we need to improve the most in? And I became a leader that they chose to follow, not just because I was paying them. When I started structuring it in a way that when the company does well, the team members all see a part of that, they wanted to now make the company more money. And the vetting process is where we filtered out for these kind of people that have that ambition, that have that drive to want to seek more. When our incentives are aligned, I don't have to be micromanaging. There's no point because they are aligned with what is important to me and what's important to the business. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you though. The first month is hard. You're filtering through hundreds of applicants, taking interviews with people you'll never hire, questioning if it's even worth it. But you have to remember, every month you put off building your team is another month you're stuck doing everything yourself. I think that is the real risk, is waking up a year from now still doing everything alone in the business and plateaued because of it. So the question is not if you should build an overseas team, but how quick can you do it? And can you do it quicker than the next guy, aka me?